I just don't think he has it anymore.
Melo's the role he didn't want in Oklahoma.
Carmelo Anthony drills it straight away.
That controls the narrative that the media creates. If you're new around here, subscribe to catch our weekly podcast. And if you're a returner, we appreciate your attention. As always, we have a returning guest, and we have pretty close to a day one control supporter coming on the pod today. Two controllers who signed up for our membership, and you guys will be seeing and hearing a lot from these two guys as they will be on a podcast every single month moving forward. We were just talking a little bit off camera. Good energy, and you'll see that one of the guys, I thought I had a lot of sneakers. I think I have like 30 something. This dude blows me out of the water. And then our other guest is one of the most popular control episodes to date in terms of views. So people obviously fucked with what he had to say. So it should be a good episode, number 66. And with that being said, let's bring on Kenny and Joe. What's going on, my guys?
Good, man. How are you?
What's going on, baby?
Not much, man. Appreciate you both, like I said off camera, for signing up to become a member. Really means a lot. And then also for taking time out. I know you guys, Kenny is probably fucking rearranging his 170 shoes, and Joe's out there doing his thing too. So appreciate you both for taking time out.
Absolutely.
Kind of a big episode, way different than last week. Last week we had just like a really depressing episode. Melo had just come off that 0-point performance. The Blazers have been losing, and they still have been losing. But Melo's had a little bit of a resurgence, been putting up 20 points a game, shooting well from the field. So let's start with Kenny on this one. Kenny, what do you think the leading cause of this Melo resurgence has been? Do you think it's literally just as simple as shots going in, or do you see something different, whether that's what the Blazers are doing offensively, what Melo's doing, or just something along those lines?
Well, I mean, watching the games, I've been seeing it's been more than just like offensively. It's been different areas. Like, defensively, he's been stepping up, guarding their guys, the stars, and getting everybody else involved. Him and Norman Powell, they're working together well to me. Like when them two out there, it's like they look for each other, they piggyback off each other pretty much. It's like when one's going, then they look for the other, and it just bounces. So it's like confusing the defense, and that's what I've been seeing. It's like it's not. And then with him doing that, the offense has been flowing. He's been able to take the shots that he wants. They've been putting the wrong people on him, from what I see. Like you can't keep putting guards on the forward. That's like, come on, man. That's too easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's pretty much what I've been seeing.
Fair. Joe, what do you think?
Yo, I think personally, in my opinion, Melo's on a mission, yo. He's on a mission. Yo, we got this man come off the bench in his new role. So I think he's been making a point to, when he gets in, borrowing when he gets in rhythm, get his touches and his feel-good spaces, to put in work, But the key to that is him being in rhythm. But I think he's on a mission, man, to show the league that he got a lot left in the tank. That's my opinion. He got a lot left, and he want to show the league that. He want to put on display. That's what I think.
Do either of you think that the 0-point game either woke him up or woke the Blazers up? Like, yo, if we're using this guy, like, we have to get fucking points out of him?
I think it more so pissed him off, to me.
Fair.
that I think that's what more so. It's like, okay, I got to show you. Like, I don't. That's not who I am. I've never scored. 0 points. That's not something that you ever see from Carmelo.
Second time ever.
Yeah, I think that really it pissed him off more so. It was more motivation too.
That 0-point game. How many minutes he played?
16.
16. How many shots he take? How many shots he take?
4.
Yeah, ain't that many.
4, and one of them was at like the end of either the shot clock or the quarter where he just had to chuck it up.
Yo, he had to feel something. You can't. Melo can't get going off 4 shots in a game. 16 minutes, he in the flow. Come on now. He's feeling some type of way. That ain't Melo like.
Right.
Think about that. 4 shots from Melo.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
You know what was crazy about it was like I watched that game and he was like passing, and it was so crazy to me, like having 0 points and still making that pass, and like people aren't going to talk about that. Where like, oh well, he shoots every time he touches the ball. Like the dude had 0 points and he was still passing. And again, if people don't watch the game, they don't understand. But for me, I think this kind of resurgence has been a combo of two things. I think one part of it, aside from those two things, is like you're just going to have times where the ball goes in and it doesn't go in, especially for Melo, whether that's like over a game, whether that's over a week, a month, whatever. Even this season, we've seen him go up and down in terms of shooting percentage. But for me, it was interesting, this kind of resurgence coming off of that 0 point game, which I also do think kind of pissed him off, where he's like, damn, like if I'm going to contribute to this team, if we have any shot, like I need to do my part. And Melo's part has always been just scoring the ball. And two, I think it's also interesting how Dame has been out a few of these games, just like he was out, what was it, like a month ago? And Melo was like one of the leading guys. And it was like Melo and Gary Trent, while CJ and Nurk were still on, like Melo was doing his thing. So I think that's interesting. And just like that opportunity factor of like when Dame's in there, he's controlling the ball most of the time, shooting a lot of the shots and shit like that. So even something as simple as allowing Melo to run a fucking pick and roll, that still can get him in a rhythm. Like people don't understand that. Like just being part of the game gets you in a rhythm. True story. I think it's probably combo.
He's added a couple of steals too. A lot of people don't really pay attention to that. Like the one, he was scoring, but he was causing deflections and steals, and he was helping out like on other ends. Like a lot of people don't pay attention to that too.
Like I always say, Melo ain't the best defensive player in the league. He's older. We all get that. But at the same time, Melo is savvy. He been through everything under the sun. He know when to turn it on, what to do, what not to do. So he knows all this, man. When it comes to certain players, he pick his spots. But he's solid, man. Don't get it twisted on defense. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of superstars that don't play man-to-man defense, though. Like what?
Facts, 100%.
Like there's a lot of people that they'll stand there and they still blow by them. They don't really. There's not a lot of lockdown defenders anymore. So when people say that,
I was thinking about that earlier today too. Think about this in the league right now today. How many lockdown defenders do we have in the league right now?
It's like a handful, if that.
A handful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
you know why?
It's more of a perimeter game now. If you think about it, it's not like back in the day. They take you down the block, or you have a dominant center in the middle. It's a lot of teams are small. It's not like they don't, like I said, can you name like 5 dominant centers right now? Like if you think about it, like there's not a lot of traditional basketball is what I'm looking for.
Sorry. Yep.
And one last thing I want to add on this whole defense thing is during the Hornets game last night, Melo came up with a steal like late in the fourth quarter, and like they were already down and shit like that. But the Hornets announcers were like commending Melo. They're like, "Yo, this dude's in his in his 18th year. He's going out there, putting it all on the line, like coming off the bench on a veteran's minimum and all that shit." And I just don't understand why people can't see that. I don't know how many control the narrative we need to put out there for people to understand that. I guess we'll keep fucking going until they do. But it's been
we'll get into all that a little bit later on about why Melo not getting the minutes, why he come off the bench and his veteran minimum. We can get to all that and stats too. Please.
Let's do it. Let's get to stats right now. I don't know how else to say this. Rondae-Hollis Jefferson on a 10-day contract started a game over Carmelo Anthony yesterday. Just want to know, let's go with Joe first. What was Stotts trying to accomplish with this move? Is there any thought process behind this, or is this just like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, so let me just try something?
OMG. Listen here. When I saw that, I was like, what the fuck? I'm going to be real. I'm going to keep it 100. This guy was on the second 10-day contract. All right? Okay, I'm going to give Stotts the benefit of the doubt. You want to throw him into the fire, see what he can do, give him a start. No. You don't start him over Melo. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, versus the Hornets on March 1st, Melo gave them what 29, I believe.
I think 28. Maybe it was 29.
Like that. And you gonna start Jefferson, a guy who was don't know an offense fully on a 10-day contract? Come on, man. Stocks, man. Listen, if the ship sale goes down and they start losing games, I'm blaming Stotts. He got to be fired. On to you, Kenny.
I think he will be.
Yeah, I don't know what his rotation mindset is. It's like let me take these pieces. Let's just throw them out there and see what happens. I don't know if he's trying to get him a rhythm or something, but I mean, from what I'm seeing, is this he's just a fill-in to me. It's like he's not really doing anything that much.
Yeah, I've been playing this game a long time. I've been playing in college. I've been playing in Europe for a number of years, and I have never seen a club or a team will give a guy a 10-day contract and want to put him in on a 10-day deal. 10-day contract, put him in and start lineup versus the Hornets. When Melo just gave the team 30 points, 29 points in March.
Shit makes no sense. You know the craziest thing to me about this is, well, there's two crazy things. One, this whole strategy that they've been rocking with this whole year of, we need Melo off the bench for his offense. When, like, if that was the case, they would have started so many other dudes when Dame was hurt, when CJ was out. Like, they would have started other guys in that starting five, but Melo started a few of those games. So why was he starting those games and not this game? And two, not a huge fan of Derrick Jones Jr. I don't think he's that great of a basketball player. But at the end of the day, when you're paying him $9 million and he's getting 0 minutes and you're starting a guy on a 10-day contract over him, like if I was a Derrick Jones Jr. fan, like I would be pissed. Like he has not been playing amazing whatsoever, but 0 minutes in favor of a 10-day minimum contract. I can't even justify what Stotts was trying to do. I was hoping that one of you guys had an answer. Doesn't seem like it. So
my thing is this. Okay, you signed Derrick Jones Jr. on a $9 million deal. You bring in Rocco for defensive purposes, right? To show up the defense. Okay? Yet, to this day, we last in defense in the league, right or wrong. Right? So
they're right there, bottom 5 for sure.
Yeah, and okay, at this point in the season, we gotta make adjustments. Do something different because Stotts, what you're doing ain't working. You know? And me personally, you gotta be known for scoring the ball, putting the ball in the hoop. Offense, we top 3 in the league in scoring points. So why not put Melo in the starting lineup and see what happens? We saw what happened. We see what happened in the bubble. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion.
I always go back to that. I always go back to the bubble because like it's the same strategy that they're going with. Just outscore your other team, which is fine. But when you're starting Derrick Jones Jr. or Rondae-Hollis Jefferson, either one, it doesn't fucking matter. And then Covington, it's the same thing where Dame and CJ, like, they can easily get trapped and, like, Covington can't create. Derrick Jones can't create. Nurkic can, but, like, I feel like he doesn't get as many opportunities as we saw him in the bubble. So
and they both can't make shots.
Right. Covington's been killing it lately. I'll give him that.
Yes, fair. He hasn't been through. Yeah.
If he gets he gets it going. If he gets it going, like, in a rhythm, then he's hard to stop too. But I don't know, man. It's just questionable. I don't know. Like, you don't want to be in the play-in situation again.
You do not.
For 2 years straight.
That's scary.
Like you lose a couple games and you dropping because these other teams at the bottom, you know, they're trying to climb, and you just putting yourself back in that situation again, and then you're going to tire yourselves out. And then come playoff time, you're going to play the bigger teams, and everybody, you know, they're going to bring their big hitters, and then you're looking at the same situation we were in last year.
That's exactly what happened. The Blazers had to win every single game that they won, and they did. And then by the time they got to the Lakers, like a couple bad injuries and shit like that, but that's exactly what happened. And the fact that they haven't learned from that yet, and like, let's win games now so we don't have to later. They're a professional organization in the NBA, so if we're figuring this shit out and they're not, it's like, fuck else can we say?
True story.
The lower teams, like, that's supposed to be the team that you just let Melo go to work. Like, just let him go to work. Because, like I said, there was nobody that really can guard him on the Hornets. If you think about it. Like, this, who are they going to put on the Bridges? Or they switch Rozier on him a couple of times, but it's like, come on, man, that's like big brother playing little brother. Like you can't do that. Like
I feel that.
Yeah,
I get it.
I feel that.
Yo, speaking of guards, on this is something that I've kind of come to the conclusion, and I'm not going to say what I feel because I want to hear you guys' opinion first. Dame and CJ, everyone knows that they play a similar type of offense, that they're like similar players in a lot of ways. But if you had to pinpoint one similarity and one difference between the two, like the biggest one in your mind, Kenny, what do you think between Dame and CJ?
Dame, he looks for assists more than CJ does, to me.
Okay.
CJ just comes, it's tunnel vision. I'm coming down, I'm launching it. Y'all better get ready because I'm letting it go. As soon as I'm going to dribble a little bit, step back, and I'm letting it go. Like,
yeah,
that's Dame. You know, he tries to. If he's not on, I think he tries to get his teammates involved, or he tries to do something else versus just shooting 35 times a game and shooting them into a slump, or just building a house because you're drinking so much.
It's so true.
That's like the two differences I see.
All right, what's the biggest similarity? Is it like just play style to you?
Yes, they both dribble heavy, create their own space, make their own shot. That's like the similarity. I think that's why they work so much. And it's like I think they look for each other to do that too. That's like another thing is piggybacking off of each other. I think if one's gone and then the other one tries to get gone, and then like I said, they look for each other. That's like similarities.
Yep, fair. Joe, what do you think?
You know what? I got a notepad right here, right? Wrote down notes, okay? And I'm gonna pick it back on what Kenny said. One of the things he said about Dame and CJ is assists, looking for other players, teammates. I 100% agree with that. Dame will look for the open man more times than not, whereas CJ, like he said, got tunnel vision. He want to look for a shot, dribble, shoot a tough shot, rather than kick to the other player, open player. You know what I'm saying? And I think, I'm going to say this. I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Go for it.
In order for the Trailblazers to go deep in the playoffs, they're going to have to trade CJ McCollum. They're going to have to. And so they can get a lot for him to surround Dame. You know what I'm saying? CJ is young. He's borderline prime.
Yeah.
But those two together, but they play well most of the time. But I'm saying to get to that next level where they want to get deep run in the playoff, they have to trade him. And I heard that somewhere.
A lot of people have been saying that. Yeah,
I heard that too recently. Mm-hmm. I just think, and you think of this game now, I think he's trying to show, oh, yeah, I can do this, I can do that. I'm gonna make horrible passes. I'm gonna lift people off and get my own shot. Just watch the games. I'm trying to tell you, CJ trying to, on a low, let people know that, listen, I'm still that guy. Pre-injury, they can get 27 points a game.
I was going to say that, yeah, because he was killing it before he got hurt.
Wasn't he? So I'm going to keep out on that.
All right, what about difference?
Differences, again, I just think Dame is a killer, man. He's an assassin. When he's hot and on fire, there's no one in the league, any guard can guard him. When he's hot and locked in, no, can't nobody guard him. Whereas CJ, he can be clapped down when he's missing shots. He want to do too much, then he can be not his normal self, in my opinion.
Fair. I don't know. As the more I watch these two guys, the more I just think that they're literally the same player. Difference, same thing. Dame is just, I don't know if he's just more willing or he's just more able to make these passes, because we've seen CJ sometimes, like, he can find the open dude. It's not like he has, like, a lot of times he does have tunnel vision, but like there's also sometimes where like he can make it. So like I don't know if that's like a mentality where he just comes down and he's like, I'm not passing, like I'm shooting this, or like what the case is. But yeah, I think Dame is way more of a willing passer, but at the end of the day, I think they're so similar in terms of the way they get their shots, the way they play defense, just their games are so similar. And, you know, it's something people talk about. The trade deadline has has came and gone, so they can't make any more moves this year in terms of trades and shit until the offseason. But that was a big thing that people talked about. Like, yo, are they going to trade CJ? I think last year was like Kevin Love. His name was floating around and shit like that. So it's been something that they've talked about, and like getting to the conference finals that year. I feel like that held the Blazers back years because it was almost like false hope. Like, I think a Dame and CJ team can work, but just the pieces around have to be so perfect. Like, they have to be filled with defensive-minded guys who can hit open shots and who can play make, and it's just hard to find guys like that in the league, especially with how much Dame and CJ are getting paid just to fit in like that. So, I don't know, man. I just think that it's crazy how much like their games look alike in terms of how they get their points and shit like that. But yeah, I think the difference is same thing that you guys been saying. Like, Dame, just more of a willing passer and probably a better passer too. But
let me ask you this: do you think, as currently constructed, that they can win? They can go deep into the playoff, like to the Western Conference Finals, as currently constructed right now? Or do you think that, let's say next year, let's go next year, that they just trade CJ for better pieces to surround Dame? What do you think about that?
I honestly think if they can bring Powell back and somehow get something for CJ, I think that might help them out too. Because like Powell, he gets his shot, he can score, but he also he'll pass it. Like and he plays defense.
Facts.
I definitely think that might help them, and I think they might get another big man just in case Nurk gets hurt. He's
can't stay on the court.
But you know what? I like Enes Kanter. He been balling, man. He's been balling night in and night out. He will give you a double.
Yeah, underrated, man. He's underrated.
Facts. Yeah,
he because a lot of times when CJ, he's dribble, and he'll go to the rack, but Camp just basically down there waving his arms, like waving at him, like, hello.
You see that, right? Yeah.
You got 3 on you. There's nobody on me. Like,
yo,
definitely catch and finish. So I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know what the craziest thing about this Blazers roster is that like they have good players like Simons. I feel like he's a good basketball player. He just doesn't fit this team. Kanter, good basketball player. I just feel like he doesn't fit this team just because he's so offensive. It doesn't really play defense like that, and they already have Dame who's like that. They already have CJ who's like that. Fuck it, they already have Melo who's like that. So like when you have all these guys who are strictly offensive minded, it's so hard to make it work. So in terms of like looking forward, we'll talk about this Blazer season in a minute, but like next season and beyond, honestly, don't care because I don't think Melo's gonna be there. Like I feel like he's out. I feel like he's out.
You can see it in his face a couple times. It's like it's not the same.
The frustration, man.
But, it's the expressions and everything is totally different. It's like he's just frustrated. It's like I'm giving you what I got.
On a veteran's minimum.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. We keep talking about the same thing. Like
ultimately, it's the fucking coach, man. Wow. I'm just saying, yo. Like,
I know.
It's crazy.
What do you think, Joe? Do you think that, like moving forward, let's say Melo leaves and they retool their roster and they still go with Dame and CJ, you think they could win a championship?
No, sir. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah. Like when they made their run to the finals a 3 years ago, they had pieces in place with them, like Aminu, that guy who played the 4, who was defensive specialist, and the other guy can't remember his name, but pieces around them fit. They're able to make that run, but and Rocco and DJ, they ain't those players, man, and it ain't gonna work. I'm just we gotta make something happen. In my opinion.
You've seen that with Rocco, like in Houston, he was a piece guy. He was part of the pieces. It wasn't he wasn't a go-to guy. It was pieces. He was part of a puzzle that was together that made the pieces work. So
facts.
Yo, the pieces for the rest of the season. Like Melo's going to finish the season on the Blazers. They are trying to compete for a championship right now. I think they're like the 6th seed. The Mavericks are right fucking behind them.
Yep.
Do you have any hope for the rest of this Blazers season? Like, do you think there's any chance that they somehow turn the shit around and like make a run? And like by a run, let's say conference finals. Who went last? I don't remember. I think Joe, you're up.
I do. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's come down to Terry Stotts. It comes down to him. At this juncture, Terry Stotts got to be one of the worst coaches to make adjustments all year. I don't disagree. In the NBA, it's all about adjustments. You getting blown out by 20 or 15 at the halftime. Go into the locker room, get your coaches, make adjustments. Rocco ain't playing right. DJ ain't playing right. McCollum, make adjustments. He don't do that, man. It's up to him. You have Dame, you have CJ, you have Melo. You know what I'm saying?
Talented pieces.
Yeah, right.
Can you give like an adjustment that you would like to see? Because me personally, on defense, they try to play everything man. They switch all the time. Sometimes they go under the screen and like they do it sometimes. They do it very, very rarely, but like trap somebody, trap Giannis, trap the ball handler, and like figure it out. Like they don't try anything different. It's so rare that they do. So for me, like that's something I would like to see. An adjustment made is like, yo, somebody is hitting every single shot tonight. Like trap that guy. Like don't go under, don't switch, don't let him get that one-on-one opportunity. Like make somebody else beat you. And especially with this Blazers team where they don't have the players, they don't have the defensive strategy, anything. It's like try something. Yo,
listen, when you bring in players you gave up draft picks, pay all this money for 2 players, Rocco and DJ, supposed to play defense really well, those guys got to step up. You brought them in for a reason, man. You brought them in for a reason. They got to step up. Up to this point, I haven't seen much. So you got to ask yourself, they got to look in the mirror and accept the type of challenge and want to step up and be that player that they've been brought in to be. Play defense, man. They have to. If you're going to make a deep run in the playoffs, Stott's going to make the adjustments. And those 2 guys, especially, because they brought in for that, they got to play defense and step it up, man.
They should try what they do to Dame. As soon as Dame gets the ball, they meet him at the logo.
For a double.
Like the stars, like meet them at the logo too. Like you know Giannis, he's straight to the basket. If you cut off his lane, there is no Giannis. You don't see a Giannis. He's not going off. He's not, scoring all crazy. And I mean that team has shooters, but if they're cold, then
exactly. You live with it.
Right, and it's because the Clippers did that, and that's a team they're gonna have to play later on in the playoffs. Like, if they do that every game and they shut him down, it means everybody else has to step up.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
Like, teams figuring it out. They gonna double team Dame. They want other players to beat them.
Right.
So we got to step up, man.
Yeah. Just because he's double, that doesn't mean come down and just shoot 1,000 shots.
Right.
You still got to play.
Move that ball.
Yeah. Just like the Spurs used to do. 5 or 6 passes before a shot. Like, that's fundamental stuff. Yep. I learned that from playing basketball in, middle school and grade school. Like
5th grade.
Yeah, right. It's just, I don't understand it. It's fundamental. It's little stuff.
So do you have any hope, Kenny? It sounds like you don't.
I do, but it's just, I don't know, man. When you lose to teams you shouldn't lose to, man, it's just
that's what I'm saying. Doesn't give
me any hope, man. There's no way you should be losing to teams that are lower on the brackets, man, and they don't really have the stars. Like their star players wasn't playing. Like I
prime example. Last night, you don't. They ain't have none of the ball ain't playing. You don't lose to Charlotte. There's no way.
Right.
To Terry Rozier.
Right. But again, you don't play your best players. Why would you play Melo? He just gave him 30.
You can't make this up.
Why would you start him?
And he was on fire last night. He was on a roll last night.
Yo.
They basically exactly. And looking in their faces like, little guy, I'm shooting this.
Oh, listen, the man gave them on March 1st 29 points, 6 threes, 5 steals. on March 1st against the Charlotte Hornets. Yet you don't want to start him last night, when the night was. You going to start Hollis Jefferson off a 10-day contract. Come on, bro.
Yo,
on this right now.
To me, I want to have hope. Like, obviously, you know, I want to be like, yo, if they could turn shit around, like, as soon as everybody gets healthy, then everybody gets healthy, and it's like the pieces just aren't fitting. And that's on the coach. Like, it's up to the coach to make the pieces fit. Like, obviously, there's some times where, like, shit just doesn't work, but this was a team that last year in the bubble, the majority of this team was the same. Looked like a team that could compete for a championship. Injuries got in their way. The referees also got in their way in the first round against the Lakers. Anybody tells me. So for me, I want to have hope, but like it all comes down to the coach, and it's like, can he make the adjustments? Can he get his fucking head out of his ass and stop starting dudes who are on a 10-day contract? And I don't like, he hasn't shown me anything that has proven that he can. So I don't want to say I have no hope, but it's very, very low at this point.
What's the point? Like, okay, I get it. You bring in Rocco, you bring in DJ, then you sign Powell, a trade for him, or what have you. Okay. Yep. And you want to insert Powell and start laying up. I get that, because you want to bring him back next year, so you got to make that right and start him. I understand that. But you bring these two guys in for a purpose of being better on defense.
Yep.
Yeah, they have their games, I guess, but it's not working. We still last, bottom 3. So there needs to be adjustment. We known for scoring the ball, so why not make that happen on offense? We put in players, the starting 5, to where we scoring the ball at a much more effective rate. I still think this team is better suited starting Melo in the starting 5. Like the bubble, right? Yeah,
we saw it.
And seeing what happens. I mean, if it don't work, then hey, we can make it. We can change it at the end of the day. But yet, Stotts won't make that happen.
Yeah, him and Nurk, man, they were working in the bubble. They were working. And they had Collins. They would help. They had him come off the bench, and it was
a good lineup.
It was, man. Working. Yeah, it was vibing.
And the ball was moving. It wasn't stop heavy. It was moving. Yes. It was really working for them.
They was cooking.
Yeah.
Made that run to get to the play to make to the playoffs. They got burnt out with the Lakers. I understand that, but that run up to the Lakers was good. It was
amazing. Wasn't it? And we saw like the potential of this year's team, and we haven't seen it. Like, we were waiting for everybody to get healthy, and like I said, the pieces just aren't fitting.
Nope.
And it's frustrating, because like we all know the team that they can be, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen, at least this season. So it is what it is. Not trying to fucking be like the making everybody depressed who watches the shit or listens to it, but like that's the reality. That's like where we're at right now, where Melo's putting up 24 points off the bench, and like we still, for me, I don't know if I should be saying this, but like I'm almost at the point where I'm like, as long as Melo does good, I don't care how the fucking team plays. Like, I don't care if they win or lose. Like, if Melo gets 20, I'm straight. Like, I don't care.
You know what? I feel that too, what you're saying. But at the same time, I want to root for Melo, not only Melo, but the team as a whole. And I want to see them get to that end point, which is a championship run. And you know what? They have all the pieces to do that, man. I'm trying to tell you, they do. But again, Terry Stotts is the issue. You have to put the players in the right position at the right time to be successful. That's all I'm saying, B.
And you got a hustler on the bench. You don't play Giles. You don't play him.
Yep.
Like, he's a hustler. Like, he brings intensity. He brings energy. That's off the bench. And like, he's a shot block. I mean, he blocks shots. He goes up to block shots.
You said Giles?
Yeah.
He does. Yeah, he'll foul, but like you say, he's a hustler. He go after it, yo.
Yeah, he would definitely go after it. And he calls disruptions. Like, they don't expect it from him. So when he's in there, it's like, oh, all right, now we got a game plan for him too. So,
Bro, and we saw that. Remember when Dame and CJ and them were out, where CJ Ellaby was that guy? Like, he came off the bench and he just brought fucking energy, and it picked everybody else up. And like this team doesn't have somebody like that in the rotation. They don't have anyone tough who like commits a hard foul just to like
exactly
like they don't have players like that.
That blue collar guy.
Yeah,
they don't have.
They don't.
Yeah.
And there was a rumor that like Dame was trying to get the Blazers to trade for Draymond. Couldn't think of a more perfect fit, but that's what it is. Alternate universe, I guess.
Who was that?
There was a rumor around the trade deadline that like Dame was pushing for the Blazers to trade for Draymond.
Really?
And obviously it didn't come about, but like couldn't think of a more perfect fit on both ends of the floor. But
yeah,
alternate universe. Maybe we'll see it one day. But yo, Kenny, Joe, we reached the end of this podcast. It's I started this podcast. I'm like, all right, cool. Like Melo's been balling out. This can be way better than last week in terms of just like positivity and shit. But I think I feel worse right now than I did recording last week, just because like there's just no hope for this team at this point. But anyway, before we let you guys go, we always allow our guests to control a narrative. Doesn't have to be Melo related, doesn't have to be basketball related, doesn't have to be sports related. So I'm going to give each of you guys, we'll do a minute to control a narrative. We'll go Kenny first.
A lot has to deal with everything that's going on right now in America, man. Just you gotta keep the positive mindset, man. It's so many different things happening at one time. Keep your eyes open. That's another thing too. Like be open-minded, because I don't know. Underline, I just feel like there's something else that they're not telling us, that they're hiding. So that's why it's so many different things. It's like you can keep your focus on one thing. So I just say, stay positive, be safe, and take things serious that's going on right now. And make sure you love your loved ones too. Keep them close.
I like that. Control what you can control.
Yep.
Yes.
I like that. What you got, Joe?
Well, I echo those certain sentiments that Kenny said 100%. But I want to control a different narrative that has to do with Carmelo Anthony. A lot of the experts, ESPN or whatever, says that Melo is not a starter in the league no more. He's older in age. He's a bench player. He's a role player now. But in my opinion, from watching him in the bubble up to this point, when given the minutes that's needed, Melo's a starter in the NBA. I think last game versus Hornets, kind of like says that. Like, come off the bench. You give him 24 points in 28 minutes. He got a lot in the tank, like I said earlier. And he's more than a bench player. He can start on a contending team. Yeah, he ain't the best defensive player. We know that. But who is in the league, right? He's solid. He's savvy. And Melo is a starter player in the NBA, not only this year, but in the next year for sure. After that, all bets are off. I
agree. I'm telling you, he's gonna look good in that blue and orange next year with the Mike. What's his name? Mike Wieseski announcing his name at the Garden in the starting lineup. That's gonna be something else. So looking forward to that.
Come out. Did you say the Knicks next year?
I hope they're such a perfect fit in every way. Like the Blazers are a team of ISO scorers who play no defense, and the Knicks are a really good defensive team who don't really have ISO scorers like that. Like Randall, yes. Alec Burks has been like one of the guys they're leaning on in the fourth quarter. So I think it's a perfect fit, and I'm trying to speak it into reality.
So he's gonna play the 4?
Yeah. Fuck it, why not?
I like that. Okay.
Come off the bench. I don't care.
I like that.
So I can bring this back out and wear this now.
Oh, classic.
Yes, sir.
I can wear it again.
I knew he was going. Is that signed?
No, it's not signed.
Oh, I thought there was autograph on the back. I love that.
I like that, dude. Nice.
Good shit. Yo, Kenny, Joe, like I said, man, appreciate you guys for both signing up for a membership and for taking some time out. We'll be hearing from you guys.
On Twitter, B. I'm gonna follow you, B. Tonight.
All right.
I got you, B.
Follow you back.
Yo, we're gonna be talking a bunch moving forward. Can already tell these episodes are gonna be great. So looking forward to it, man. And hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.
You too, man. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.
Stay mellow, baby.
Stay safe.